Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to share how I am currently organizing my Book of Shadows because this is a really popular thing and a lot of people I feel like have such a beautiful aesthetic to their Book of Shadows, but I don't know how realistic it is to actually use. It looks beautiful on camera, but like how often are you really using these elaborate pages? So mine is more of a working Book of Shadows. Like it's not pretty, but it's very functional. So this is my Book of Shadows. Isn't it beautiful? It is a binder. Yup, still has the tag. It's a heavy duty for extended use 3-inch binder doodado. So obviously I've got a lot of stuff going in here already and I've got plenty more to print off and add in here. Which comes to the first major way that I organize this. I run technically two Book of Shadows. So I have an online version that I can access anywhere. Thank you, Google, for that. So that I have access to them when I need them. Because the odds I do not have my phone, please send help. Something is horribly wrong. I have to have my phone on me. It is my security blanket. It is my adult binky. If I do not have my phone, I am not okay. So I always have my phone. Therefore, typically, I will always have access to internet. Most of the time, I'm not going somewhere that doesn't. Occasionally I do, but it's not as often. And so because of that, and even then, I think it has an offline mode, so you can still access them quite a bit. So it just won't save until you go back to an internet accessible place. But I am able to use this so that when I need to do an affirmation or I need like a quick refresher on a spell that I need to do, I can just like pull out my phone from my pocket, which is actually sitting on the couch next to me, but I can pull out my phone, boom, got it right here. And I don't need to necessarily lug this thing around when I'm going to do a ritual. Some people don't love using their phone in a ritual. I have found it's fine. Especially like if I'm doing a spell and I need to do it out in nature, out in the woods, whatever, because I've done a few of those. I love having my phone nearby. I love to carry that around and just whip that out, have it, you know, the document open, and I can just scroll to whatever sections I need. Boom, it's right there, versus lugging this monster around. I've tried to do like mini Book of Shadows where it's like just the essentials of whatever. I never can maintain them. I can maintain one in 2 different places because it's also really convenient if I need to change the information. Like let's say I've realized that like working with Issa, the rune, I've decided actually, to me it means more this. So I need to update the information. Instead of like crossing it out or having to redo a whole page, I just update it on the like digital version, print it off, hole punch it, change it in here. Done. Super easy. The only thing that I do not keep digitally is the like journaling pages that I'll put in here, which is mostly just going through Inner Temple of Witchcraft. Anytime I do any of the exercises, I journal a few pages about it. That is just written in here. So if I lose it, I lose it. So the next step is how I organize the inside, which is handy dandy little tabs. So there is a set that I found on Amazon, but it also was available at like Target and Walmart, so like whatever suits your fancy. But it's a set of 31, but I really like this because it is so easy to have multiple tabs so I can separate everything that I need. And they run really well. It's just the number, so you have to always look at the front until you have it memorized what number goes to what. But it works so well. Eventually I might have to buy another one because I will have more sections to add. But right now, I haven't used all of them, I just have a majority of them used. So I'll go through my sections with you guys. I'm not going to show you the pages, but I'll just talk about them. So hopefully it will give you some ideas of how to organize yours. So my first section is daily, which is kind of just like regular-ish. So this could be daily affirmations, daily spells, I mean like the day of the week spells that you can do, or like affirmations I want to do on a regular basis, just stuff that I would use often. Prayers and invocations to the gods that I would use often goes into this section. Next we have the moons. I thought about separating them out into the individual phases, and then I decided, nah, it's gonna live as moons for now. Eventually maybe I'll bump that out, but that's gonna take up a huge chunk of the pages and sections available. So haven't done that. Granted, I don't do a lot with the moons yet. I'm planning on doing more. It's just one of those things that's like a process to get there. Because typically it happens on a work night and I just don't care. Like I'm too exhausted from work, so it's not gonna happen. So eventually that section will have more to it, you know, things to do for each of the, you know, various moon phases. Like it's something I'm planning on getting into. I know how to do it, I have the information, I just don't currently. So it's a very barren section right now, but eventually it will get built up. Next, I did branch out the Wheel of the Year, because for me that is a huge part of my practice. So each one has its own sections. We have starting with Samhain, Yule, Imbolc, Ostara, Beltane, Litha, and Mabon. So whole sections for each one, because there are so many rituals, spells, recipes, anything that falls into the category of the Sabbat lives in that section. Next, I have kind of like a divination portion. So I have tarot, runes, astrology. They're currently living in their own little things. Right now I really only have the rune pages out, and that is from the Learning the Runes series, which I am done with them. It's still uploading, but I have those pages in here of all of the notes that I took as I was doing that series, so they live in here. But of course I'll add more pages as I go along, as I do more work with them. It'll be getting added into like the runes section. Same with tarot, that's the series that comes after the runes, so that'll be coming in June. So it's coming up soon. Next, I have this section, and it's mostly because I feel like it's easy. When I think of a book, I'm like, oh, that book had stuff. I want to have a section for that. So when I think of like, oh, I know there's a few things in like The Rites of Odin is the current book I'm looking at, but I don't think there's actually any in there. But like, maybe there's like a thing or two that I wanted to include into my Book of Shadows. I will add that into that section of book notes because each book has its own things, and sometimes it just is easier just to be like, I remember it was from this book, so I can flip to the thing and find it. Eventually, I will probably have repeats, but sometimes, I don't know. This is one that I'm like, we're testing the waters with it. So when I print it off, the headings is gonna have the title and author of the book, and then whatever is on the actual page of whatever I'm copying. Usually it's spells. Then I have a full section dedicated to Inner Temple of Witchcraft, because obviously I'm going through that on Patreon. If you've been over there, you know that we're on like lesson 4-ish now by the time you're seeing this. So working through that, every exercise that I do, I print it off and I add it into here, or any like major things. Like there was a meditation for like the moons and the Wheel of the Year, printed those off, those live in here as well. But like that's one of the repeats, because I would also add the moon pages into the moon section, and like the Wheel of the Year ones, like I don't have a section for just the entire Wheel of the Year, but I kind of almost want to add that for things like that, because otherwise it'd be like a full page for like a paragraph. Next, we have a majority of spells. These are not all of the topics that you could totally do for spell work, but these are the ones that I found I use the most. Protection, obviously. Huge variety of things that could be under the listed thing of protection magic. Same with prosperity and or money, could be for jobs, anything like that relating to, you know, finances. Then we have mental, because I don't think everyone has that section, but for me, if I have a spell or something that's gonna help with anxiety or depression or anything like that, it lives in this section. Then we have gardening. I love to garden and take care of my yard, and so there's a few spells out there that are specifically for that, so I have a section. Love, obviously this could be self-love or romantic love. I'm also probably going to include our wedding vows and renewal every year in that section. Healing, everyone needs a good healing spell or two. And then sleep, because sleep is vital to my existence. Like if I don't have enough sleep, I do not function well in this world. And so I have a section because there's a number of things that are spell related for sleep. Dreaming the Divine had so many exercises and stuff. So I don't have these labeled as spells. These are just the label, the sleep section, because it could have a variety of stuff included in there. Same with like love or gardening or whatever. They have their own things. The next one is going to be weddings. All of the stuff that I have been including into the whole series that goes on for Tuesdays for several months. All of that information will be living in my Book of Shadows, so that eventually, if I ever have somebody to pass this on to and they get married, boom, information, la da da. So that is going to live in there as well. And then finally is death, because death happens and it sucks and you need resources when you don't have a brain to think about it. So I wrote a book about it, and eventually I'll probably just end up sharing a lot of the stuff. I might re-release it, but I have to do some editing to it that I want. But I do have plans to share a lot of those rituals in October, so keep an eye out for that. But I do want to have a full section of all things related to death, invocations and whatnots for the, you know, goddess and gods of death and loss and grief and all of that stuff. I'd have, you know, funeral rites if you're running it, or, you know, grief processing things in there. you know, spreading the ashes, stuff like that. Like, you need that information before you need the information. So I like to gather that stuff well in advance and then just have it when I need it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this gives you some ideas of different ways that you can organize your Book of Shadows. Again, I need mine way more functional than I need it to be pretty. I love the aesthetic of these beautiful ones you see on Etsy and on Instagram and on a lot of videos, but the reality is, like, that doesn't work for me. I need something that works. And so this is the system that's been working really well for me. I've been using it for about a year now, and it's been working amazingly. There's different things that I've changed and adjusted, and that's just how a Book of Shadows goes. Especially as you continue to learn and grow and evolve for your practice, things are gonna change up quite a bit. And so my system for me works really well because it allows me to adapt and to change. And I hope that this was helpful for you guys. And if you have a different system, I would love to hear from you how that works out, and, you know, what systems do you use. And hopefully this will give some people ideas, especially if you're just starting into making your Book of Shadows. You're very overwhelmed because you're not the most, like, artsy person. It's not pretty. It's just printed pages. So, you know, choose a pretty font and then it fixes it for you because you don't have to have beautiful handwriting. So thank you so much for watching. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. And if you would like to support me, I do have additional content available on the weekends and on Wednesdays on my Patreon, so make sure to check that out. That way you can support the channel and get more stuff from me. Don't forget to also like and leave a comment and subscribe here on YouTube. That way you never miss an upload. I post Monday through Friday every single day, and so you will always get more content from me. Currently I have a couple series running. So on Tuesdays we have the Witchy Wedding, and on Wednesdays we talk about books, and on Fridays we have the Learning the. So currently we're doing Learning the Runes. It's gonna slowly be switching over to Learning the Tarot. So stay tuned for all of that fun stuff. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all soon.